I'm so flattered and humbled to see all the people waiting, really going on with this. Oh, Christine. All right, I will do I will look at the Skinwalker Ranch. Okay, keep asking. Skinwalker Ranch, not a, always gives me the heebie-jeebies whenever I hear about it. Ranch. What is to go with that? Lynn Patterson, I hope you're here and watching, because you have thrown me a squirrely mystery. I remember watching the Fifth Estate program on this, and it is that's a Canadian show, and it's the Barry and Honey Sherman murders. 171 sign in. Okay. 171 sign in. 50 years ago, teenager disappeared. Girl or boy, 171. People often think it's only just girls who disappear, but it can be a young boy, a young person as well. Hi, Judy Malley. Oh, Grandma D, Carter Massey, Wildheart, Deborah Costro, Linda B, Sharon Sipe, Carter Massey. I said hello to Grandma D. I'm really humbled that you guys have come and joined me and brought some questions. Hi, Catherine Stubbs. Hi, Anna Macedo. Hi, GM Dave. Remember, it's all mysteries today. Yeah, Lynn Patterson sent me an email yesterday. Hannah Sherman. They were murdered in 2017. Ligature, strangulation. The way they were left posed almost exactly as one of the sculptures labelled junk sculptures from the 1970s, which is, to me, a humiliation. One of them's humiliated, certainly. Yeah. Oh, don't worry about that, Dave. That's fine. So yeah, so Skinwalker Ranch 15 years ago, 50 years ago. 171, was it a boy or a girl who went missing? Girl, okay, a girl. 50 years ago, that would have been 1970-ish, 1970, 71. That was a particularly bad one. Okay, and thank you so much for joining in the fun. Black Dahlia was brought down to a doctor who lived in the house. In fact, his son basically turned him in. So that really has been solved. Jack the Ripper. I'll ask Jack the Ripper, was he one of Queen Victoria's sons? That was the time, one of Queen Victoria. Victoria's sons. Yeah. No. And if not, did the police know but could not prove it? Whether it's yes or no. Prove it. It'd take a couple of days. Some people have reactions to the flu vaccine as well, and it can take a couple of days to wear off. But I have heard that it can just take a few days. Just rest as much as you can. Yeah. Linda B, keep on the road to recovery, darling. Natalie Wood. I actually did a reading on Natalie Wood. I don't know if it was a video. No, I read on it for a friend of mine. She wanted to know. And what it came down to was she just wanted to get away for a while, hopped in the, she was in such a state, didn't even think about the fact that she couldn't swim or anything, hopped in a dinghy to go to the shore and accidental. She was in a bad place. The relationship with Robert Wagner was not good. But the reading I did came down to basically her feeling threatened for some reason. Whether or not she was in her right mind is not an issue. She was just trying to escape the boat for some reason at that time. She felt threatened. That's why she was trying to, whether she was in actual danger or not is. And basically just couldn't row, really couldn't, didn't have the skills to do it. She fell out and because she couldn't swim, drowned. So it was an accidental death, really, is the story I got from Natalie Wood, from the Natalie Wood thing, not from her, but the reading I did on her. So yeah, the reading I did, it came down to accidental death. That didn't mean she didn't feel trapped or fearful, whether it was real or just her emotional state at the time. Yeah. Yeah. Carl Gentry. Melinda Dutcher. Hi. Carl Gentry. Who is Carl Gentry? I've got a multicolored pen here. Different pen. Carl Gentry. Found dead. 17th of the 10th. 18. In a camper. No more details on a hill in Kentucky. You don't know how he was killed? Was he shot? Was he just dead? Well, we've got quite a bit to be going on with. So we've got the Sherman murders, Skinwalker Ranch. Okay, I'm going to light some candles, and when I do that, I'm going to light some Palo Santo as well. I'm going to light a candle now. Where's my matches? Oh, there they are. Yes, Whitby's telling them. Hey, Dave, no more red hat stuff today. No red hat stuff, nothing like that. It's all spooky, kooky, unexpected. The Palo Santo ready. Now, just some places you don't look into without it. You know. Okay. Oh yes, it really affected a lot of people. Drug overdose, Melinda. Okay, drugs. Okay, well, he said there was enough in his system to be high, but that doesn't necessarily mean there was enough for an overdose. So, okay, how about we get stuck into it? I am going to start with the Barry and Honey Sherman case. This is going to take up quite a bit of time, okay, because they're hi, Angela. If you have a mystery or a question you want to ask about something mysterious, please do put a comment there. Barry and Honey Sherman. Barry Sherman was a philanthropist. It's odd because apparently he didn't believe in God, free will, altruism, which is, you know, for a philanthropist, or morality. He was the CEO of Apotex Pharmaceutical Company, and he and his wife Honey were murdered on the 13th of December 2017 with ligature strangulation, belts around their necks, and they were left posed and tied up and posed, so they like were. I think they were still alive when they were forced into these poses, and looked exactly like one of a series of sculptures called the Junk Sculptures, which were created in 1972 in New York. I really think that's significant. That points to personal hatred and wanting to humiliate these people. Hi, J Cat Lady. And I actually watched an episode of this on the Fifth Estate. If you haven't seen the Fifth Estate, it is a Canadian program, and it looks at mysteries or unsolved mysteries. It also looks at scandals and does in-depth investigative reporting. It is an excellent show. Really excellent show. It also covers some horrifying events. And my thoughts go out to all the families and survivors from that bus, from an incident with the bus where a really psychotic, mentally ill man took people hostage. Someone was killed in the most horrific way. Thoughts and prayers go out to everyone who was on that bus. It was quite a long time ago now, and to the family of the person who was killed. Canadians might be aware of of the incident. It was horrific. So just thinking this morning, my thoughts and prayers going out to everyone who was affected by that incident. But it is a very, very good show. Look, this man had a mixed reputation. He was a philanthropist on one hand. He was a cutthroat, really cutthroat businessman on the other. And he also had some really, really dodgy associates with criminal records. He had also been targeted by the Jewish Defense League, which is on the FBI's terrorist list, because of him being very critical and very competitive with Israel's pharmaceutical company. So all sorts of things. But okay, he was regulation at first. He was a big-time litigator, and he had a lot of favourable judgments for him, and I think he probably had a couple of judges in his pocket. Suspects, well, there was cousins of his, the Winter family, who sued him in 2011. They lost the case, but they felt that because their father had sold the family home to give Barry the money, or to lend Barry the money to buy Apotex in the first place, that they were entitled to more than the handouts they were being given. They lost the case. There was a doctor, I won't put her name out there, who in 1998 blew the whistle on her concerns about one of the drugs that Apotex was developing. The Shermans tried to defame her and damage her reputation. She was fired from the hospital where she was working because they didn't want to give up the research grant they were getting by keeping her, but she got a job back later. There were other competitors in the business. There were contractors in 1996. They had a house built, and then it said the garage was faulty, so they sued various contractors and got $2.3 million. Again, the judge came down in favour of them. He was working on his unpublished memoir, so there's so much here. Okay. 1996 and 1998. 21 and 19 years is a long time between going up, you know, these people doing the dirty on you and doing this thing. It seems like it's probably a much more recent thing. So I'm going to count out the doctor and the contractors. Now, it seems he was he had his public face and he had his thing. And I do feel it was something recent. The day before they were murdered, Honey missed a meeting with the Baycrest Centre Foundation, saying she was dealing with some stuff. So let's have a look. Oh, an amazing show, Cheryl Higgs. It's absolutely an amazing show. And once you start watching an episode, you cannot stop. It is so well made that it gets you in, and you know. So it is that good. I would hazard to say it is the best show of its type in the world. I've got no hesitation in saying that. And welcome, Cheryl, too. Hi, Teresa Balthazar. Okay. Hi, Sharon Side. So let's have a look. Was this close to home? Competitors. Unpublished members. Memoirs. A terrorist group. Criminal associates. Let's have a look here. Guide to the heart's truth and compassion. Please not find clarity, insight, and objectivity into question and words. Very nice. Family member. Judgment. All the judgments had been made for that. He wasn't happy, but he was at the point where he couldn't really do that. I mean, he had to pay them $300,000 legal costs, which is much less than Barry Sherman wanted. This is family legacy, judgment, splitting the family. I think they were working on an agreement on how the family member could pay the legal costs, not all in one lump sum, say so many a year, so many thousand a year or whatever. I think they were working to do that. So if they were working towards an accord, things were looking better in there. While he admitted on the Fifth Estate he was very angry, and there were times where he happily felt like he could, you know, kill them. He said, this is where I was, this is what I was doing. And that was working, it looks like they were working, judgments had been made, and they were working towards sorting it out, how things were going to be done. They were working towards a better future. Queen of Swords. Assessment, moving in a different direction. They were assessing things. The Queen of Swords. It wasn't happy, happy, joy, joy with the Sun, but the Sun is indicating a better future between the two families. But there was still some coldness there. But they were looking and assessing things and deciding what direction to go into with regard to this settlement. Things went back a long time. There was a lot to work through from a long time ago, but they were heading towards a better future. I mean, this Barry person sounds like the type who could turn on you on a dime. So while there was always that chance, I think they would have reached consensus eventually. So I don't really see that. This family member really had reason to, because they were working, they were lawyers, at least there was no personal contact. There's still very much cold shoulder. The lawyers, the representatives, were working towards sorting that so that there was a happier outcome, heading things in a direction that would maybe re-establish familiar relationships towards the end. So I can understand why he was the prime suspect, but they were working things out. So on the basis of this, I don't think it was the family member or a member of the family. And for those who have just joined us, we're looking at the murder of Barry and Honey Sherman. I got an email last night from Lynn Patterson. And so I'm looking at that. And hello to everyone who's watching. There's no politics today. We've got a nice little list of mysteries and things, yeah, to look at. So let's have a look here. Competitors. Right away went through my head. It's competitors. No, there's too much to lose to do something stupid like take somebody out. May have been how they did it in the 30s or something, but nowadays it would just be, you'd lose everything. There are other ways to take out a company. Unpublished memoirs. Oh, you know, that pose is just like humiliation, humiliation, humiliation. And that could indicate a family member, another family member, but it's not the chief one. But they really wanted these people humiliated. Unpublished memoirs. Was it because of his unpublished memoirs? Let's have a look. The butler did it. They didn't have a butler. They had cleaners that came in, but they didn't have a butler. Sorry, sorry, Dave, you failed on that one. So, unpublished memoirs. He was definitely going to do the dirty on somebody, I think. Oh, long hidden secrets coming to light. The Hermit. Heartbreak, betrayal. Definitely somebody felt they were being betrayed. Now, long hidden secret coming to light. Feeling of betrayal, heartbreak. This family business was all out in the open. It was in the courts. It was public record. This was not long hidden. Got to pay, got to pay. You don't tell on me and not pay. You don't tell on me and not pay. Consequences for the action of bringing light, shining light on these long hidden secrets. Someone had tried behind the scenes over a long time the legal route of stopping this publication. But there were a few people who probably didn't want it publicised. But the reason they were doing the long way with this is taking their time is because they wanted it hidden under various things. So whoever was really behind the legal thing to suppress the book, they probably provided money so somebody else could go up and have, who felt that they had a case and didn't want the book published. There was definitely conflict around the publication of the book, and this betrayal. Somebody really this person has a lot of ties, international ties. This case also got, you know, a lot of international. This man with $4.77 billion, he was like the 12th or 15th richest man in Canada. But this person, it certainly got nationwide and probably North American attention. But this person had more ties, like global ties. Out in the cold. If the stuff came to light, they would be out in the cold. Justice, justice. And transition. Oh. Look at this. On the bottom, lovers, a deal. Publishing. Oh no, this is a deal long ago. A deal, and it wasn't the family one. A deal that was made a long time ago. Now these are major arcana here. Got 5 major arcana, and the minor arcana are all pointing towards conflict, consequences, legal hassles, being left out in the cold, betrayal. This person felt justified. Get it? And they were very angry. He wanted this permanent change, and both of these are change cards. He wanted things changed. He did not want that. The person did not want that memoir being published. And he was willing to bring about permanent change. And he was so angry about it. I think it's a feeling he'd be left out in the cold. And humiliation, heartbreak, humiliation, betrayal. And that's why he didn't do it himself, but ordered somebody to do it. And he gave really specific instructions. Who was with his wife? Melinda? It's a big, powerful person or a group of people. But I do feel it really comes down to one person, Carl Gentry. Was his wife as dead as well, was he? Yeah, so I really think it was one of the things in setting up that humiliating pose is they thought it would be the family. What was like? They thought it would point to the family because the family were angry and felt they'd been humiliated, so they wanted to humiliate people. But just because they had this huge difference does not mean that he wouldn't want, a family member would want someone in their family to be seen in such a exposed and vulnerable and horrible way. I don't think they'd want it, no matter how angry they were. I do feel that the murder of Barry and Honey Sherman had something to do with the unpublished memoirs that he was working on, and he had let slip that he was going to include some very long hidden secrets in it. And these people would, the person or people these secrets were about, did not want them coming out. So that's what I think happened with the Shermans. It was to do with the unpublished memoirs. This guy had a few judges in his pocket too, by the way, Sherman. So that's my reading on the murder of Carl and Honey Sherman in Toronto. The Jewish Defence League, they may have targeted them, but probably for subversive, possibly industrial espionage and stuff like that. associates with criminal records. Well, you know, these guys, no, it was someone very powerful who you wouldn't think. Hi, you, Gerard. Okay. Oh, Skinwalker Ranch. Okay, I do try and avoid talking on this place, so I'm going to guide to the highest truth and compassion. Please help me. Please surround me with an extra layer of protection as we investigate. Highly contentious and hopefully mysterious. I get the word sect is going through my mind. Sect, a sect. I'm going to grab a different bag. The Hermetic Tower. I'm going to use that. So the Skinwalker Ranch kinds of highest truth and compassion. Skinwalker Ranch. A lot of people believe it's aliens going down with, you know, with the cattle mutilation. I was thinking cattle mutilation and the word sect came to mind. That's people doing that. That's people doing that. Very underground sect of people who are nasty, have some pretty nasty beliefs. They'd be just, you know, the nicest people if you talk to them in the street, but underneath they've got this corruption, that these practices that they're doing will help save them. They're very underground. I mean, you know, very, very deep. People, they don't talk. You know, it's like the first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. It's, you know, Skinwalker Ranch, Princess of Cups. Princess of the Palace of Floods. They believe that they are servants. And if they open their emotions and they do a lot of rituals designed to open up their emotions and open themselves up to let the truth flood in, and they feel they are messengers but they're only allowed to take their message to a select few. Three of Wands, Lord of established strength. They believe that that these things they're doing, they're rituals. They believe that they will be rewarded. If not them, then their children and children's children, generations. These generations of people have been doing these things. At least three and probably more. Four of Pentacles. They keep things very, very close to themselves. Keep things very, very close to themselves. Radiation scientist. Okay, yeah, okay. So I'm looking at the people in this sector. Lord of Swiftness, they come in, Eight of Wands, they come in, and when they do come in, they're like, there and gone within a few hours. And you might think, oh, it takes a long time to do what was done to an animal or whatever. But honestly, if there's several people, it doesn't take that long. You know, I've seen a single man, a butcher, you know, skin and cut up a cow for food. 2 hours. 2 hours. If you know what you're doing. So they go in there, they're very swift, looking at the cattle mutilations at the moment. Six of Pentacles, Lord of material success. They believe that these things that they're doing will bring about success, and they'll be given knowledge that other people aren't privy to. Seven of Wands, Lord of Val. They stand their ground. They've got their boundaries. They've got their boundaries. And they're very, very strict about keeping them and not letting other people in. You've got to be born into this. And even if you decide not to follow into it, you're indoctrinated pretty young. Told this is the face you put on to everyone else, but this is what we are about. And that's how they keep their boundaries. But I think there's a lot of inbreeding going on there too, because there's only so many families. Bringing in new people means giving up secrets. So this is an increasingly mentally unstable, this is mental instability as well, mentally unstable group of people. So there is a sect. That's what the cattle mutilations are about. Yep, the Hermetic Tower. Hi, Sheila. It's a great deck for looking at things like this. Now, the look at the radiation as well. Hang on, just had some decks up the wrong way, some cards up the wrong way around. So just going to make sure all the cards are the right way around. I mean, like the back of the cards. like this, you know, that. But people will eventually die out, but they don't do things to other people. Their rituals involve animals. They don't want other people in to know, but they're not a danger to other people. But it's pretty... Radiation on the Skinwalker Ranch. Take it there's no uranium deposits around. Lots of things can cause radiation. I have an idea it's something to do with the geographical location. The Sherman Ranch, Ballard, Utah. Okay. Geographical location. Radiation. Princess of Swords. Princess of the Russian Wind. Nine of Pentacles. Lord of Material Gain. Sitting pretty. Knight of Swords. Chaotic. Lords of Winds and Breezes. Now this is rushing winds and breezes. Three of Cups. Lord of Abundance. Queen of the Air Throws. Queen of Swords. Thrones of the Air. The air is very big here. Here it is, Swords again. Lord of Despair and Cruelty. The radiation levels can affect people. Make some people... From what I understand, it's not supposed to be enough to harm people, but people who are very susceptible to things should be careful. Seven of Pentacles, Assessment. Ace of Cups. Relationships, agreement. The Magician. The Magus of Power. Look, everything is there. They have everything they need to put the mystery of the radiation levels. All the facts are there. They've just got to be brought together. To me, I'm getting the wind being brought in on the wind. Nevada. I feel like it's the wind. It's coming in. It is an artifact from the 1950s site. Hi, Joji. Hi, April Evans. Hi, Sandra Henderson. The wind. Oh, I've got lots of wind. The Knight of Swords, chaotic winds. The Queen of Swords, cold-hearted, no sympathy. The Princess of Swords, secrecy. The Magician, everything's there to bring it to life. Seven of Pentacles, taking assessment, taking things in a new assessment. Has often mean test. And I just and I do feel like it could be coming from Nevada. Southwest Nevada. Well, I think the government is involved as far as they held tests in the 1950s. Winds, but then there'd be, if it was coming from Nevada. So I do feel like it's an artifact of tests, nuclear tests. White Sands, New Mexico, Nevada National Security Site, Central Nevada, Plowshares, that's in New Mexico. Yeah, Nevada, New Mexico. Albuquerque. Yeah, I do feel it's like an artifact of nuclear testing. New Mexico or Albuquerque or Nevada or something, and it's being brought on the wind, high level winds, and for some reason around that area the winds drop and a lot of stuff is deposited there. So I do feel there's a geographical reason for that. It's winds. Is there any UFO, alien association, UFO with the Skinwalker Ranch? I know that's a pretty scientific explanation, but the cards were pointing me towards that scientific explanation with the winds. That's interesting, Joji. You were born on New Year's Eve too. It's Pluto messaging people born on New Year's Eve. I might just take I'll have a look at that. Yeah, I got an idea that the radiation might attract them to it, but in tracking the source, but then I feel that the aliens have been attracted to there long before those tests. Why are the aliens attracted to that area? Dimensional. There's a theory that there can be dimensional portals, and I think that maybe that might be part of it. The sun. It's like a bit of a beacon for them. Three of Cups. Support. Abundance. There's an abundance there. Six of Cups. Pleasure. It's been a long held, it can also be not just pleasure, it can also be way back. It's a long known thing with them. Lord of Flame and Lightning. It's like something that's restraint. Investigate. There's lots of investigations. They're keeping an eye on the people who are constantly infected in investigating the place. Foolish man, the spirit of the ether, floating away. I do feel like there might be a dimensional thing there. Big impact. It's Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, that's very much assessment here. It's sort of like a place they like to go and study. To them, it's like a library of knowledge for some reason. Five of Cups. Lord of Loss and Pleasure. Lord of Preferred Success. 10 of Cups. And 10 of Wands. Depression. Perfected success. I feel like they maybe have sort of some experiments there too for some reason. Something to do with dimension, maybe a doorway to other dimensions. It's sort of like a little laboratory to them in some way. Maybe because of the geological setting with even before the test. Maybe whatever's attracted them is the same thing that has created the cult or the sect. The same sort of thing attracted both things. So it's definitely something of a little lab area for them, something they're attracted to, and they're studying something there. And then trying to bring some things to light, more knowledge. They're trying to gain more knowledge. Assessment, study and assessment. New directions. They've been doing it for a long, long time. Perfected success. It's just study, try again. But it's also something they'd like to be rid of, but they can't yet. They're tied to it for a reason, and I think that has something to do with a trip into the ether, another dimension. The four Wow, very interesting. That's what I feel. That's what the story that I'm getting about the Skinwalker Ranch on those three aspects. One is human devotion, one is geographical, the other is extraterrestrial, and there's even a dimensional aspect to it as well. It just seems to be one of those areas that everything comes together. So there you go. Now I'm going to 171 sign in. I'm going to have a look at the teenager that disappeared from your area, the teenage girl that disappeared 50 years ago. I do have a sinking feeling in my gut. On that, so she was 27, 1978. Christine, older than you remember. Okay. Now, I'm not a medium, so I'm not going to even try to get in touch with the guides of the highest truth and compassion. Christine, who disappeared in 1978. She disappeared from your town. A young woman. Yeah, a lot of nasty people around there. Late 70s was really bad. Where are you? What state are you in, Simon? Kingston, Ontario in Canada. Okay. 10 of Wands. This has been a burden for the town for a long time. Wondering. It's really stopped a large portion of the town from moving on. It's been a burden for a long time. It's really stopped a lot of people in town from being able to move on. This isn't the sort of town that these things happen in. That's the sort of feeling I'm getting. You know, it's the pause in momentum, and again the momentum, and some answers would help the town move on, at least the part that hasn't been able to. The world, outside influences. So part of the world can be outside influences, and this isn't someone within the town. This was not done by somebody from the town or within the town. This is somebody who was from the outside. The outside. Yeah, the change that happened to her was irrevocable. It stopped everything completely, unfortunately. You can guess the card. Unfortunately, this is pointing towards her not being alive. So she has passed. Sharing. Somebody knows something, and everyone's gave up. The sharing of information was great. You know, this was not someone within the town who had a secret to keep, so they kept numb. This was someone from outside town. So everybody tried to. That didn't mean she didn't know the person, but so everybody within the town, they shared what they knew. The person was from outside the town. That doesn't mean she didn't know them. Did she know the person? Yes, she did know the person. She did know who did it, but it wasn't anyone from the town itself. It was someone she knew from outside the town. There was a relationship. It was someone she knew from outside the town. tipping point, crossroads in the investigation. They came to a point where they had to make a decision whether or not to go on, and they decided that they couldn't continue to go on. It's become a cold case. King of Wands, compassionate leadership. I feel like this person might be in a leadership position elsewhere, like in another town, not major political heavy hitter, but someone in a leadership position where they live now. It's certainly part of their past and they don't want it dragged up. Yes, she was definitely murdered. I'm sorry, 171 sign-in. Knight of Swords. There was someone in a leadership position in another town and she was about to create some chaos. Disrupt the family. Knight of Pentacles. Very, very slow moving. They might have even, from their position from another place, tried to slow things down a bit. That's the slowest moving knight. Well, look, the truth is going to come out eventually. It is going to cause some conflict. Abuse. There's a real conflict of interest, her being involved with this person in the first place. But it wasn't anyone from the town, from your town. It was from another town. Could be someone, another town within the province. Someone who's very good at balancing and manipulating. But they're not a major politician or anything, but someone who does, or at the time did have a leadership position. The truth will come out. Is the person still alive? Is this person still alive? Unfortunately, I do feel like this woman, was she pregnant? Oh, I'm so sorry, Choji. I'll finish looking at this. Is the person who did this to Christine, are they still alive? Are they dead? Dead. Yeah, dead. They're gone. They're passed. But at the time, so they're not going. Five of Swords. And they were in a position, they did abuse their power to slow things down a bit. So there's the truth is going to come out, but there's not going to be any real justice because this person's gone. Or near to being gone. Page of Pentacles. There's going to be, somebody's going to offer, there's going to be some news and some supporting facts. Yeah, the person has died since. So I do think eventually you will get the truth, and the town will be able to move on when it hasn't been able to. Several missing persons, one from next door to me last June. What's happening to the missing persons? From all around in your town. Just do a quick reading on the missing persons. I'm not saying the person 171 signing didn't have an association with Kingston, but they were from another town. So, okay. Oh. Let's find some clarity and insight into what happening to these missing people. They're seeing the wrong thing. Queen of Wands. There needs to be investigation into this. High-level investigations. All reservations are federal, so there needs to be congressional investigations, high-level investigations. Two of Pentacles. Someone is this Lord of Harmonious Change. Someone's trying to keep things quiet and harmonious. Four of Pentacles. Things are being kept really close to the chest. Knight of Swords. Lords of Winds and Breezes. Yeah, loss. Ace of Pentacles. Offered for money. I think some of these, if they're girls too, some of them might be trafficked, unfortunately. Seven of Wands. There really needs to be investigations going into some of the happenings on these on the reservations with people going missing. I think they're seen at the moment as a very vulnerable, a place of easy picking. I'm sorry to say that, Joji, and that's awful. Universe, the world. Get people from outside. This is the world, universe, the world. There's people from outside. That doesn't mean there's not people on the inside helping, but Prince of the Chariot of Waters, King of Cups. That's Biden. Princess of Pentacles, very smart young people. The Lovers is going to be Five of Swords. There are people who are abusing their positions to prey on people within the reservations, with outside influences, with people from the outside taking advantage and getting these people to abuse their positions and prey on people. There's deals that have been made. King of Cups, Congress. Sometime during the time that Biden is in office, I do think it could be first term. If he does a second term, it could be then. Will Biden institute wide sweeping changes and investigations into these matters? Yeah, Biden wants to have what's happening. Why are people being lost? Why are people being taken? That's fair. He's not unaware, King of Pentacles, corruption and money, but also stability. He's aware of the need for more stability, not in terms of money, but clear out corruption. This has been happening for a long time, and he feels that there's going to be a need to bring more light to it. Congress, Queen of Wands for me is Congress. Temperance, showing restraint, bringing restraint, standing their ground, putting in new boundaries. Family togetherness, helping. This is the nations. There will be changes in agendas and strategies with regard to First Nations people, and Biden wants it. I don't know when, but he will instigate some changes, investigations. Oh, this is so sad, Joji. There's definitely not necessarily your neighbours. If you mean neighbours, people outside the reservation. They're always bad people who will do anything for money. Justice, there will be some justice with regard to your young people here. Lord of Waterways, the Knight of Cups. They're being pulled away with offers of success, financial, but there will be a pause in this, and there will be justice. 10 of Cups, perfected success. Here it is, the families again. Joji, keep talking. Talk to your representatives. Set up a Facebook page, whatever you have to do to bring more light to it. This is unfortunately across all nations, people taking advantage. It's horrible. It's young people being lured away, some people not wanting to go and fighting, and because they can identify who tried to make them go, they're being, that person who was found, the bones who was found, I do feel it was because they tried to take her, and she knew one of the people, and the person knew one of the people trying to take them, and yeah, you've been attacked on your porch too. Oh, Joji. Lobby Congress, lobby the House, send form letters to every member in the House. The Republicans are just going to be, but Democrats and Independents, lobby them, send letters to all of them, email out. You know, you can get the email addresses for the offices and stuff. Send an email to the White House saying this is what's happening, please help us. Things like that. Do everything you can. I do feel that the truth will come out, and that in some cases, hopefully in yours, I do feel there's an element of trafficking happening. I hope I'm wrong. Heart goes out. Heart goes out to you, Joji, for these. Oil painter, hello. Okay, Jack the Ripper. An oldie but a goodie. do Jack the Ripper, and then we'll look at Carl Gentry. And just remember that I always put up for entertainment purposes only. That's my interpretation of the cards. Can't be used to prove guilt or innocence, but that's my interpretation of the cards. Be safe, Joji. Everyone send, please send protective energy to Joji in the situation that they are in. And yeah. Yeah, trafficking of some sort. It could be people trafficking, it could be drug trafficking, it's definitely trafficking. It could be a mix of both. In fact, I do think it might be a mix of both. Often where you find one, you find the other. So, yeah. Everyone please send out protective energy to Joji, who is obviously undergoing an extremely bad time. What, Joji's asked, what messages does Pluto have for those of us who were born on New Year's Eve? Yeah, April 11, yeah, in Canada, yeah. Canadian government's got to be in on it too. They've got to, I think there should be a joint effort actually, because I think it's possibly cross-border. So there really should be a joint effort between the two governments, and possibly even with Mexico as well. Seminole as well, that's Florida. Okay, home. Be safe in your home. Your home is the safest place for you. Thank you, Melinda. There's been some crucial, really tipping point things happening for some of us born on New Year's Eve. This is what messages Pluto has for us. Home, home, home. Home is a good place to be. There is a calming, we've got to be restrained. We want to, here I am telling Joji to go out and talk and lobby and all that, but be restrained in what you're doing, like send the emails and all that. Don't go out and confront people. Be constrained and be restrained and tempered in how you handle things. There are better times. There are happier times coming ahead. Better news. We all seem to have some things go on. Tipping point. Some of our plans. We all have plans. What is it? What is it? People plan and God laughs. Don't stick too stringently to plans that were made. There could be some offers, new offers coming towards some of us. And I'm included in this. Emotional stability is really, really important at this time. And this is good because a new period of prosperity and emotional stability ahead for us. It's really, we've got three twos, one on top of the other. Tipping point, plans, new deals, new relationships or relationships. So this could be a time of crossroads in the plans that we've made. A good time to maybe make some new deals and form new relationships. But pause and stop and think. That's really important. just the third high impact card. So it is a high impact time for us. It really would be to our advantage to stop and think and take a pause before we make final decisions. For many of us, there's been some anxiety and some stress. Anxiety and heartbreak for some of us, stress, in my case, stress and anxiety born of stress. So, but that is, okay. Here it is. Here's the people plan and God laughs. Not everything you have planned is going to work out. In fact, be careful of some of the people you've dealt with recently. Don't be surprised if they walk away. If some people walk away. But we're also in for surprising news. So I do think the outcome for us is look to ourselves for our own wisdom. We will be triumphant. Look deep within ourselves. The deals that we get offered, the surprising deals that we get offered might not be what we expected. But I do think that they'll lead to new stabilities in our lives. So stick close to home. And yeah, that's the message, Georgie, that Pluto had for people born on New Year's Eve. That's all right, oil painter. I did a big reading on the murders of Barry and Honey Sherman in Canada. And then we've been doing a whole heap of other things. It's the three major North American countries, Canada, US, and Mexico. The three countries that make up North America. There has to be some cooperation between the three, sorry, in order to stop some of these things happen, because it's happening to Latino and Mexican Indians and people like that as well. So yeah. Okay, Jack the Ripper. Was Jack the Ripper one of Queen Victoria's sons? Oldie but a goodie. Jack the Ripper, God. Who's Jack the Ripper? Was Jack the Ripper one of Queen Victoria's sons? Yes or no? Let's find the emotions. No, maybe. Not a son, but someone tied to her. It caused conflict within the family. I feel maybe a nephew, something. She have siblings? Because if it wasn't a nephew, it had to have been a son. Queen Victoria have siblings? If it wasn't a son, there was definitely some relationship. Yeah. No, Victoria was the Duke and Duchess of Kent's only child. As it comes. It's a familial relationship. No, Queen Victoria. Yeah, no, she did have siblings. Queen Victoria, Edward, her brother Edward, and her sister Adelaide. So it might have been a nephew. There's definitely tied to the royal, to this institution. But there's a pause, which to me means not direct, but different perception. The perception's wrong. They're looking at, they definitely helped hide this person. I don't think it was one of her sons. I think it may have been a nephew or a cousin. Definitely a family member, but not direct. Okay, so I'm going to put a different deck here. Did the police know, but could never prove? So it was either a nephew or a cousin of Queen Victoria. The Voynich, ancient code. Oh, interesting. I've never heard of the Voynich. So I'm going to be going into that. Oh, that's all right, Laura Carlson. Got no notification. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Okay, did the police know but could not prove who it was? Police know who it was. Family, yes, they knew it was a member of the royal family. They couldn't prove it. There were obstacles to proving it. Eight of Cups. Yeah, they had to walk away from the subject. So they knew who it was. They knew who it was, but there were so many obstacles towards them proving it. They weren't allowed to prove it. It would have been a scandal. Yeah, they had to make the decision to walk away. Here's the High Princess card again. Agendas, wisdom. Yeah, they knew. And they were told relatively quickly after the last murder, walk away, walk away. This person's been, I think they shut the person away, but it still created a lot of conflict and the attention of the world. But the person was definitely mentally unstable, in fact, almost childlike in their curiosity. But children can be brilliant as well. Very mentally unstable. Brilliant, but mentally unstable. And almost childlike curiosity. So they sort of, I think they were probably practicing opening things and stuff since they were kids. But yeah, definitely a member of the royal family, but not one of Victoria's children, either one of her cousins or her nephews, you know. So, okay. The winner. I'll write that down. I've got Dead Fred here. He's Dead Fred. The Voiner, who wrote the Voiner? I don't know anything about this language. Okay. Oh, the Voynich. An ancient code. Voynich code. All right, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Who wrote it? Very much naturalistic, isn't it? Interesting. I've just brought the pictures up. I'm not going to read on it. I want to go in as cold as I can on that one. First, we're going to have a look at Carl Gentry, who was found dead in his camper on a hill on the 17th of the 10th, 2018. What happened to this man? His wife was with him, but she survived. She's alive. I get accidental. Signs of the high truth and compassion. Please help me find answers and insights, clarity and objectivity into questions. Calm. Gentry's death. Queen of Wands, compassion. Very compassionate, open, warm human being. He had his issues. He was all that, but there was also this other side to him that was open to offers from other people. Eight of Pentacles. Details. He was sort of lost in a fog of his own making. He concentrated so much. He was so caught up in something. He wasn't aware of the warning signs that were going on around him at the time. Two of Cups, tipping point. He and his wife were they were doing something. The tipping point, something interacted with him. It's not that he overdosed, but there was an interaction with something, but they haven't picked it up on, and he didn't listen to the warning, didn't even see the warning signs. Maybe he was on some medicine or something at the time, or it was an accident. Yeah. Very emotional. It was the end of his journey here, and it's time for him to start a new journey. It was an accident, but it was time, sort of very emotional, overflowing emotion. High Priestess. He learned a lot. He learned a lot on the journey he had here, and he's taken away a lot of wisdom, knowledge. Assessment. He was struggling to take things in a different direction. This was something he could not avoid happening. Nine of Pentacles. Control. in a better position. He's in a better place now. That's what the cards are telling. It was an accident, basically. He could see the future, usually. Okay. That's definitely what then that's why the Queen of Wands came up with the intuitive. It was an accident. Looking for a wider view. Looking for a wider view, but also his journey was end and it was his time. It was an accident. But he was very wise. And he's taken a lot of wisdom with him. And I think he might see this person back again in the future under a different guise. Someone who is very wise and helps others assess and helps others to gain a better place in life. So it could possibly come back as a counsellor or something. Oh, I'm sorry that your wife was involved, Melinda. It was an accident. From what I'm reading, it was an accident, and yeah. Sometimes people are taken from us at their time, but the circumstances are heartbreaking. He was a very wise, loving, intuitive person, but could also get caught up and focused on something and not be aware of the warning signs around him. So it was a change that was coming that he could not avoid. Priest Berenger Sonia. I know that name. Why do I know that name? What did he find at his church? Yeah, I think I have time to do the Voynich code and then this price. Was his wife involved? Only so much that she was there, and I do feel it was an accident. That he had a reaction or something. Was his wife involved? Was his wife involved? Was Carl Gentry's wife involved in his death? Yes, and there will be consequences, but I don't think it was malicious. There was something going on in the home, a lot of talking about actions, going on in the home. Seven of Cups, there's always going to be a little bit of confusion, and she's going to carry the burden of his death for the rest of her life, and possibly people whispering about her, but she may have spoken about dissatisfaction with him and maybe wanting him to disappear and all that, but she didn't really mean it. But it's going to be a legacy. It's definitely led to a change in her life and not the best one. And yeah, dealing in her partnerships. If she was involved, if she took some action, her intent wasn't that he die. And there's going to be consequences for whatever it was she did. But I don't see jail. I just see it's hanging over her head basically for the rest of her life. I don't get deliberative intent. I get maybe wanting to make him feel sick or something. And, you know, yeah, there's always going to be stuff there's going to be stuff that doesn't come about. But there's going to be strong changes for her. People are always going to be talking. It's something she's never going to be able to escape. She really did talk a lot. She spoke about how unhappy yeah. She said some things that are always going to come back and haunt her. But I don't feel like if whatever she did, there was no intent to cause death, but she is going to suffer from, you know, whispers and things. It's going to be a burden for her for the rest of her life. Because, yeah, so that's all I've got for you, Melinda. I can't really say much more. If she was involved, there was no, the intent was not for the man to die. Okay? I don't know if that's any help to you, Melinda. But there will be consequences for her actions. I don't see jail or anything, even if it was manslaughter or something, but it wasn't intentional. I hope that gives you some answers, Melinda. Okay, the Voynich code. But first, I'm going to write down the notes on this priest. Priest. Sonnier. What did he find in his church? His church in France in 1909. Oh, Melinda. Oh, my dear. Oh, sweetheart. Oh. I don't think it was an intentional death, darling. I don't. Nothing I read in there saw an intentional death. If anyone took any action, it was not with the intention of harming him to that extent. You know. Oh. Please, everyone, please send some healing energy to Melinda. I hope, I would really, really hope that what I came out with is or correct. Okay. That also brings some clarity to the sitting pretty card. If you get a feeling of real contentment, of being in control, especially when things seem a little bit out of control, and you feel a feeling of contentment and suddenly being able to take control. 9 of cards. It's a 9 of cards. That's him. That's him being there with you. Okay. Last two. He never said what he found, did he? That priest. I'm sure he'd want you to move on, Melinda. Really, he would want you to move on. He'll be there. Okay. His wisdom and his yeah. That's when you'll feel him. That's when he's there with you. When you suddenly feel like content and calm and able to feel like, wow, I have control of this. That's him telling you and reinforcing that. Better life. Oil painter, if you do want to donate, you can do so. If you have PayPal, you can donate through PayPal as well. It's Footprint Tarot at gmail.com. Footprint Tarot with a double T, with between T and so Footprint Tarot. So you can do that to PayPal as well if you're having trouble doing it here. He never did. What did he find? Okay. Yeah, Footprint Tarot, as it's, Thank you, Judy Malley. So F-O-F-O-O-T-T-P-R-I-N-T. Footprint. Hang on. F-O-O-T-P-R-I-N-T-T-A-R-O-T at gmail.com. Okay. So the Voynich code, or Voynich code, sorry. What is going on with that? Who created that? I'm having a look here. Just looking. Naturalist. There's a high degree of naturalist. I'm just looking at some of the pictures here. Stars. Yeah, he is. He's at peace, Melinda. He made some mistakes, but nothing bad. Voynich manuscript. I strength. It was created by lovers. It was created by two people with another influence. Strength. Justice. You know how some people, psychic writing. I mean, looking at the images, especially this famous one with all the round circles and things like UFOs and things like that. And shared knowledge, standing their ground, their belief in what they wrote, resources, creative energy. How old is this thing? How long has it been around? Carbon dated to 1404 to 1438. That's the Dark Age, or the so-called Dark Ages. Italy during the Renaissance. Okay. Yeah, not 1,000 years old. It's 600 odd years old. It took a long time. It took a long time to do. It took a lot of patience. But I do feel there were two people involved, one with the writing and one with the illustration. Justice. A lot of justice at the time was centered around the church. And I also feel there might be a link to the church. The monasteries were places of learning and healing. Do you think it may have been created in a monastery? a place with lots of resources. The person who wrote couldn't draw, so he got another person to, he told him, close your eyes and listen to what I'm saying and draw what you see. Two people. They found a lot of creative energy. It took a long time. It was a shared project. One was very young, possibly even a novitiate. But they really kept it hidden until it was finished. They kept it hidden what they were doing until it was finished. This was a time where heresy, this sort of thing would have been seen as heresy. If they'd have been found working on it, they would have been basically branded heretics and killed, basically. It was stolen. It was stolen before they never quite got to finish it. It was stolen. And of course, it's come to light now. There is some things are going to come to light. There is a chance that it was stolen. That changed the course of this forever. But it was still kept hidden, because if you had it, you know, it was, I think it was stolen because people felt, yeah, but and it came to light. Overwhelming emotion, overwhelming fear. Yeah, there's been a lot of gaslighting about it and hiding about it. It's what it's about. I get a feeling it's an attempt to bring together an understanding of the natural world and the universe, the sky, what is up in the sky. The 1400s were a time of scientific discovery as well. The Renaissance, not just with art, scientific discovery, and it was very much a Renaissance people who came up with this. Laura Carson, thank you very much. I do appreciate the support. But also at the time when it was done, it was also seen as a bit too much. Leonardo da Vinci's drawings, you can see the workings and all that. This is like universal. You're saying that there's more than one God out there. So it would have been viewed as heretical. You're saying that we are part of something bigger, and that would have been then the Lord's plan. That there's more out there than what we want there to be. So it would have been seen as highly, if you had it, you would have been deemed a heretic. So it was kept hidden for a long time before it was brought to light, and it's still confusing people. There are so many different perspectives you can view this from. You can view it from a naturalist perspective with something, from an astronomical perspective. It's from a religious perspective. Even from a supernatural perspective, and it's confusing. It seemed to bring in all four of those aspects, and whoever wrote this was brilliant, a brilliant mind, and the person who illustrated it was a brilliant mind. They had the resources there. This is by card for medication. Honestly, this brilliant mind may have been high as a kite when it came out with some of these writings. So I do feel it was two people, one illustrator, one writer. And yeah, possibly in a monastery. So two brothers, two monks. They were justified to keep it close because, yeah, but it was stolen before it was completed. It's not complete. They never got to complete it. So that's interesting, really interesting. Okay, last one, we will look at Father Beneger Sonnier. Thank you, oil painter. It's beautiful. So, meringue. So, yeah. Yes, he was. Roman Catholic priest in the French village, 1909. He was transferred in 1909 by his bishop. He resigned. So what René Le Chateau, so he resigned. I just got the phrase went through my, he took whatever he found with him. I don't feel it's like to do with the Da Vinci Code. I mean, it was a relic. He subsequently resigned. At least that's what I've got. They paid him and he stayed with the church. So what was in the secret room? Secret room was a from 1909 until his death in 1917, he was a non-stipendiary free priest. He had no parish and did not get paid by the church. And from 1910, he celebrated mass from an altar constructed at in his conservatory at his villa. Yeah, he would not leave Rennes-le-Château to continue his priesthood in another parish, and that incurred his suspension. So he continued to be a priest, but he wasn't paid. Well, Whitby gave you some advice, did he? Okay, what did he find? He took whatever was there with him. There was nothing in that hidden room. He didn't find it in the hidden room. What did he find? Justice. He was justified in taking what he found with him. It was surprising, but very emotional. Offers. He was given lots and lots of offers by people who wanted it, and he never. Tipping point. He knew it was crucial. Momentum. It did set off a momentum of conspiracy theories and between a partnership between Jesus and Mary Magdalene. He kept it because he thought the church would corrupt it. So he acted with restraint, and he would not be happy with all this Da Vinci Code nonsense and stuff, the book and all those other codes. But he felt it really needed restraint. Strategy, loss, regret. I mean, doing the right thing, doing what he did led to loss for him. But I don't think he ever did regret it. So it led to some loss for him, monetary loss and all that. But he never, and he was sad, but I don't think he ever really did regret it. And I think the people of the village loved him, what he did. And they celebrate. Do they still celebrate him? Do they still celebrate him? Well, it definitely had something to do with the journey and a plans to do with the journey and a partnership. Somebody in that it's been passed down. This secret has been passed down. Thank you, Sean Muller, through some generations. And they trusted to keep it hidden. The consequences, they fear the consequences. There will be a time where it can be spoken of, but not yet. Judgment. Judgment, Queen. Did it have anything to do with Mary Magdalene and Jesus? I do think it did. Queen of Cups, yes. High Priestess strategy, wisdom. I feel more like it was paper, a lineage, like a family tree. Something that laid out, things are laid out, paths are laid out. It's definitely being kept within the village, and they will battle anyone to tell. I do think it's a story. I think it's starts like a journal of sorts, starting with a journey of a woman, possibly Mary Magdalene, married to Jesus and all that. So, and I think there might be a family tree. So I do think it was tracing a bloodline, a family tree, something genealogical that's been kept up through generations. But it wasn't in that secret room. It was somewhere else, and he never said where it was, what it was, but he took it with him, and it's been hidden because he knew people would just go into that church and, you know. And I know I said that Da Vinci Code nonsense, but not so much within the book. It's definite. I do feel it's like documentation, scrolls, even the generations and generations of documentation up to a certain point. But I don't think it comes right up to modern day. I think it stopped at a certain point, a few hundred years previously. So, yeah, to me, that's what it is. It doesn't come all the way up to the modern day. It doesn't come all the way up to 1909. I think it stopped at a few hundred years earlier. Where that specific bloodline died out. That specific bloodline died out. But there was proof of it. Proof of that bloodline and that it did exist. But as to whether or not it existed, at least as far as the paperwork goes, there was, after a certain point, there was nothing more. So on paper, at least, that bloodline died out. That's what I get from that. And it is the villagers they let people go see the church and all that, and they go on, but as for what he found, that it's kept close. 2 or 3 families, I think, are responsible, and yeah. Okay, look, my darlings, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have enjoyed today. It's been an emotional ride. I hope that, Melinda, you found some peace. I was puzzled with the nine of Pentacles, but when you came out with who this person was to you, it made sense then. Thank you for joining in and bringing some questions, and I love you all. I'll be back tomorrow morning for my usual thing. Until then, stay safe, stay strong, stay loving, and stay healthy. Okay, love you all, and thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.